Today we're going to talk about the forgotten handheld, the Ayaneo 2S. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? I go by the name of Stikz. This is level 857. I've been hearing a lot of people online talking about either the Steamdeck or the ROG Ally or the Legion Go. Now this here hasn't been spoken about a lot. I feel it doesn't get the respect it deserves because it's from China. The others are easy to get from retailers in America, but Ayaneo 2S isn't one you hear too much about in comparisons. I'll leave the specs right here for you. The chipset in this guy is the AMD Ryzen 7 7840U, and that's pretty much the same as the Ryzen 7 Z1 Extreme on the Ally and Legion Go. They're more powerful than the Steamdeck, but they run Windows. The Ayaneo 2S runs a bit more pricey than both of its competitors. It's rather expensive. I got this for just over $1,000. It wasn't sent to me. I purchased it with my own all-gone money. I'll go over the reason why I think it's almost worth the asking price. Let's talk about the build quality. How about first and foremost, this whole screen on the front here? That's all glass. It makes it feel extremely premium. As for the weight of it, let's see, in comparison to the OG Steam Deck, it's a slight bit heavier. You know, unless you have tiny muscles in your arms, you can hold this up. It's not gonna make you too tired or anything like that. It's fine. There's grips on the back here, a little bit of a bump on the back, so it's good enough to get a decent grip on it, enough to make it comfortable to hold. Your fingers slide a bit more down to the bottom here if your hands are on the bigger side, see? Now the trigger buttons, the buttons in the front here, L and R, they feel similar to 8-bit do controllers, L and R buttons. Not mushy, not bad. And the buttons on the back, there are no buttons on the back. That could be a negative, but for me it's a positive. There's 2 extra buttons on the top, the LC and RC. Those I'd rather have here than on the back because I won't accidentally press them. If you watched my last video on the Ally, I told you I hit the buttons on the back of that constantly by accident. And it always messed up my gameplay, so these buttons on top, I don't hit those by mistake. Also, I can hold it down and have the option of another button. So basically you get 4 button options out of them. I like that. Now on the top here, you have the power button, which is also a fingerprint sensor, which is nice. It works rather well for me. I mean, if it doesn't, I've heard online some people couldn't get it working when they first signed in. If that's the case, delete any info that you have and just re-register your finger again in the settings. After that, it worked 100% flawless for me every time. Most of the time, 98% of the time. But it's real good. It's a nice convenience rather than putting in your password constantly. Next to that, you have your volume buttons. Your up and down there. You have your USB-C for data. Actually, this is a USB-C 4 here. And this one here is for your USB for power and data there. And next you have your LED light, which will signal whether it's charging. That's going to be right in the middle of those. And these tiny holes at the top, right here and on the bottom. That's your mics, and noise canceling mics. You also have another USB-C here, which is for USB-C 4. And you can put that in a hub, or you can put it to an external screen, and you can put that to an eGPU, an external graphics card. So that's 2 USB 4 ports and a USB-C port for charging. Good job on that. If you have glasses like the X Reels, right here, you can plug that directly into the USB 4 ports, and you can charge and have the glasses on at the same time, which is something you can't do on the Ally or the Steam Deck. They unfortunately have 1 port, which sucks. You have to have a hub to plug in your stuff in that. You also have exhaust for your fans right up top here. And you can probably hear that from my mic because it's going. It's going right now. But at least it's doing its job. It's not getting hot. Also in the back, you have this big area for exhaust. On the bottom here, you have your stereo speakers, left and right. I wish they were in the front. There's a chance you might block them on the bottom. They still pack a decent punch, but you know, it's not in comparison to the Steam Deck and the Ally. I mean, those are exceptional. Those are loud. These aren't on that level, but they're not too bad. You know, but if you put them down on a pillow or something on your lap, it'll get muffled. You also have a 3.5mm jack for headphones down here. You have a little door next to that, which pushes open and exposes the micro SD slot there. And here on the side, you have these little tabs, which hide the screws to get you inside of here, which I did do. I swapped out the memory and changed it from 512 gigs to a whopping 4 terabytes. It uses the bigger M.2 2280, which is also cheaper. I got it for about $160 on Amazon. Maybe cheaper now, who knows? And it's rather easy to do. They pretty much give you all the tools to do it. They give you little extra tabs on the end if you lose them. So, all right, let's go to the front. We have a 7-inch screen, not 120, not 144 hertz. It's 60 hertz, which is okay, because most games that we play on here will be either 30 to 40 to 60 frames per second. For the price, though, I wish it was at least 120 hertz, but you know, it's portable. You don't want to be running things at such power all the time anyway. But you got your full-size analog sticks on here. They feel real good. They have great tension and Hall sensors. And that means they're magnetized, which is supposed to mean no drift. Which is awesome, because if you dealt with Nintendo Switch and the Joy-Cons, you dealt with stick drift more than likely. You have your start and menu buttons here on the left. And over here, you have your ISpace buttons, 2 of them. You have one to get into your operating system, which controls your TDP and your brightness and your volume and all the little menu options you can do right there on the fly during gameplay. If you hit the bigger ISpace button here, it goes into the ISpace app, which has all the games that you have in your system. It'll read from GOG, it'll read from Steam, it'll read from Epic Store. All that stuff will be in one place, which is convenient, though I wish it was snappier. Yeah, I mean, they're updating it, so we'll see where that goes. It works well enough. Now the buttons on here, they're slightly smaller. They're smaller than the Steamdeck, they're smaller than the Ally, smaller than the Go. They're very tiny. They're kind of like Joy-Con buttons, but they work. They're decent. It's not like I hit the wrong button or anything or misclicks. It's not that. I just wish, well, I prefer the buttons on the Ally as far as the size, and I wish it was that size. Like a standard controller. But, you know, enough about those. Let's get to the D-pad. So, as you guys know, I'm a stickler for the D-pad on these things because I play a lot of fighting games on portables. A lot of Street Fighter, a lot of stuff like that. A lot of 2D games, indie games, emulation. I use the D-pad a lot on here. Some people you don't hear talk much about them because they play a lot of first-person shooters on the newer games and newer 3D titles, which uses analog sticks. And they just use the D-pad to select options. It's okay. But coming from me, you're gonna hear what these actually can do. Now in comparison to placement, the Steamdeck has it on the top corner. I don't really like where that is. I do like the placement on here much better. It's more like a regular controller, more like an Xbox or PlayStation controller as far as where it's set. It works well, it works pretty well. It works better than I'd say all of the handheld D-pads that I've tried so far, at least in this range, in this size. Between the Ally, Steamdeck, and Go, this one is probably the easiest to use overall. I can pull off moves in Street Fighter. Shoryukens, Hadoukens, half circles, full circles, charge moves. I can do that pretty well on here. I do wish the cross was slightly bigger, but it does have a decent pivot. I can feel the movement as I do it, and it's not super shallow. I can feel it up above the glass here, or the plastic at this area. I can definitely feel there's a millimeter above, so I can feel it push down, which is nice. It does feel smooth, a bit smoother than I like because there's no bumps or anything on the edges of the cross to make you feel like you're pushing in any one direction. So that's my complaint on the controller. That could be better, but it does the moves I needed to do, and I don't feel disconnected while playing the games I play on here, especially platformers and things that require precision, which which is good because if I didn't feel connected to the controller on here, then it's a no-go. And that's why I had to let go of the Ally, because I never felt like I was connecting with the games. That's pretty much everything on the body itself. So let's talk about battery for a sec. The battery on this is pretty much on par with what the Steamdeck and Ally do. Slightly better than the Ally, pretty much on par with the Steamdeck. OG original Steamdeck, that is. Not the OLED. The OLED has better battery, but unless, you know, the Steamdeck, when it's running in a lower TDP and running emulation or indie games, it's gonna do, like the Steamdeck is gonna do way better than anything right now at that. But this can also run at lower TDP, just not as low as the Steamdeck. I would say you get a good 1.5 to 2 hours on this on a AAA game, and a good 4 to even 5 hours running lower TDP games, more so on the 4 side. Not terrible battery life. Obviously, it can be better. If you have a charger, throw the 65 watts on there. Throw it in there, get some extra battery power if you're on the go, if you're on a trip, if you're on a plane. Throw in that extra battery power. You're gonna need it, so get an external battery if you're on the go that much for any of these guys. Any of these portable systems, definitely get one. But yeah, that's about all I got on that. I mean, listen, besides being higher priced, prices are actually dropping a little bit on these, so if you find it used or anything, you might get lucky and get it at the same price, a little bit more, a tiny bit more than, your top of the line Legion Go, or, I think that's probably the highest point right now in America. The high-end Steamdeck and the high-end Ally have dropped. They're a little bit lower than the high-end Legion Go right now. But, I've seen the prices on these go about maybe around 800. You might be able to find that online that way now, which is good. Because like I said, if you want something premium quality and you tried the Ally, you didn't like how the analog sticks felt, or you didn't like how the overall feel of the system felt in your hand, this is an alternative at that 7-inch screen size, which gives you a different layout and a different feel for holding, different premium quality feel because of the glass on the screen here, and different feel on the analog and the control pad, the D-pad here. So if you were disappointed in any way by that, this is your alternative. Now, the only reason I probably can't fully recommend something like this is because of customer service and the fact that it's from China. If you go on Reddit, if you go on message boards or anything that are talking about these online, you're gonna probably find some negative things about how the customer service interacts with their customers. So here's how it goes from stuff from China. If something was to happen to your system, which by the way, nothing has gone wrong with this at all since I purchased it, and I've had it for quite a while now, a couple of months, zero problems with it whatsoever. You're gonna hear about people having problems with the system online because when something happens, you're more likely to vent your frustrations online. So that's where you hear a lot of negative stuff, and you'll think, oh, they can't make anything good. That's not the case. If I'm happy with my product, it's hugely likely that I'm not going to go online and post about how happy I am. Rather than if I was disappointed with the product, I would go online and tell everyone that I had a bad experience. I've seen people say I've had a good experience, but in comparison to the people who have bad, they all jump on that and say, so what? Who cares about your good experience? I had a bad one. Don't deal with the company. Now, I can't say I agree with how the company acts when they're dealing with customers. So say something happened with a faulty thing inside here. They'll say, you have to install it yourself. We will not take it back and install it. We'll send you the piece, whether it be for free or you pay for it, who knows. But they'll send you the piece and you'll have to install that yourself. Open up the system, put it in, take out the faulty thing and fix it yourself. Now, whether you can do that, that's who's to say. But it sucks regardless. If they do ask for you to send the system back, I've heard horror stories of it taking months to receive it back. And at that point, who's to say if they even fix the problem? It could be broken again. So that sucks. So that's why I say dealing with anything where you have to send it overseas is not a good experience. But that's why the other systems are a higher recommendation, even though as an alternative to the Ally, I still would say this is a better feel than the Ally. If you want that 120 hertz screen and, you know, all the other stuff that the Ally brings to the table, I would suggest you stick with that if you can deal with the controls. But, you know, especially with the prices being the way they are, with open boxes and stuff like that at Best Buy, I mean, I can't even argue with the pricing that's going on with those right now. But yeah, you can return those to Best Buy if there's anything that goes wrong with it. You can get warranties on it for 2 years. If anything happens to it, bring it in, no questions asked. You get a replacement. If you don't like it, you get your money back. Like it's very easy bringing stuff back, like the Legion Go and the Ally. Can't quite do it with the Steamdeck, but they have much better customer service than something from China, as far as what I've dealt with or what I've seen. But, you know, I'm always gonna say, if you're happy with what they are offering at Best Buy, then yeah, that's the way to go. Like if you want an Ally or a Go from Best Buy, that's the easiest way to go. And you'll probably like what you get. But I'm just trying to tell you about the forgotten system here. The 2S, man, like no one talks about it. And I understand, it's a niche, it's very niche. I saw in production when they had mine being made to send to me. Like it's not a huge belt of these systems going out every day. Like there's no factory pushing these out every day by the thousands and thousands and thousands, no. So it's still a very small niche thing that they have going on with this. And I applaud them for doing something this good. But, you know, I say forgotten system, and Ayaneo probably forgot about it already. Because they have systems every month. They come out with a new system every month or two. And it's on to the next, on to the next, on to the next, because that's how they make their money, by hardware. I won't forget it, at least not right now. It's not because I made the video, so I won't forget it because I have it documented in video form. So here's to the forgotten system, the Ayaneo 2S. Maybe you won't forget it. Maybe this reminded you that it exists. And it's not bad. Not bad at all. This is Stikz, signing off. Until next time, level 857. We out.